Hey ladies, it's Victoria. Thanks so much for coming back to my channel. I have my update for you as I promised. Today was my follow-up doctor's appointment after my hysteroscopy on Tuesday. It's also my mid-cycle appointment, so there's a couple of things to update you guys on. First of all, my biopsy results came back 100% clear, so nothing going on there, which is wonderful news. I was pretty excited to hear that. So as I told you guys in my video yesterday, we were hoping for some answers today, and I actually got some, and I'm pretty happy about everything. So first of all, I went for my mid-cycle appointment. This time I went to the third location. My fertility clinic has 3 offices. One that's really close to me, one that's, about 20 minutes or so. And then this one is like 30 some miles, which in morning Philadelphia rush hour traffic takes over an hour to get to. So that was fun. My appointment was 8:15. We left the house about 10 after 7, and we barely made it to my appointment. So I'm glad we left as early as we did. So anyway, so on to my appointment. I had my blood drawn as always. I had my ultrasound done. Like I said, a completely different office, so I had a completely different tech. A lot of the girls go between offices, but this specific office that I was at today is also the place where they do IVF, IUI, all of the surgically related things, retrievals, embryo donation, any of those things, it's all done there. So it's an extremely large office, it's extremely busy, and there's a whole bunch of different sections because all of the doctors in the practice keep an office there. So it's huge and crazy and busy, and I'm sorry if you can hear that. That's my husband on the TV in the basement. We have a huge projector wall with a surround sound system, so sorry if you can hear that. So it was really big and really busy, so I didn't see any of my usual girls, so I had a completely different tech, and she put the wand in and was looking around for about 3 seconds. She's like, well, nothing on this side. And then flips over to the other ovary. She's like, oh, nothing on this side either. And I'm like, nothing? What do you mean nothing? There's nothing? Like as in 0? She's like, oh no, there are follicles, just nothing measuring over an 8. And I'm like, okay, but that's not nothing. I mean, I'm sad that there's nothing over an 8, but at least there are follicles. Like, don't scare me like that. I was really terrified that we'd gone completely the other way and there was nothing there at all, but she wouldn't give me a number or anything, and I guess when they're that size, they're harder to count, but there was nothing over an 8, but she kept saying it's early, it's early, it's early, which, I mean, it still is for me because I do have longer cycles, but because I took the Clomid so early this cycle, I was kind of hoping maybe it pushed things up a little bit. But still, at cycle day 14 last month, I still had a relatively large lead follicle at this point, and I don't have any. So I was kind of disappointed about that going into my meeting with the doctor, but, what are you going to do? So it's just one of those things. It's, you just go with what you have. So my mom actually went with me today, which was wonderful. So she and I went into the appointment with my doctor together. The first thing he did is tell me, obviously the biopsy results were good. And then he proceeded to go into my lab work, which I have all of it right here in front of me. His actual report with copies of his notes that he made on it. So he put me on the Metformin, officially. I just want to cover up my information here. Sorry about that a little bit. I started tonight. This is, a 30-day supply. He wants me taking 1,500 milligrams a day, but he's having me ease my way into that since I've never taken metformin before. So for 5 days, I'm doing 1 a day, then 5 days at 2 a day, and then 5 days, after the 2 a day, then I'm up to my 3 a day. And I take 3 tablets with dinner, he said before dinner preferably. So I have my metformin now, which I started, like I said, tonight. The pharmacist did warn me. She was a little concerned about how high the doses, and I know it's not that high for diabetics, but it's high right off the bat for fertility treatment. So she was a little concerned, but when I told her how he was dosing me, she felt better. But she said the two real big side effects that I have to watch out for are like dizziness, feeling faint, sweaty, anything to indicate that my blood sugar is too low. She said if that happens on several occasions, I should call and see if they want to back my dose off or maybe split my dosing between 2 different times of the day. She said that the other thing that I need to watch out for is lactic acidosis in my legs. So lactic acid buildup. She said that's another pretty common symptom on common side effect on higher doses. So those are the 2 things that I'm really watching out for. But overall, I've done a ton of research on the metformin just because I wasn't so sure what I thought about the whole thing. So I've been researching it for a few months, kind of knowing this was coming. And I feel really good about it. I know a lot of people who just taking the metformin was enough to get their body in order, that they started ovulating correctly and they were able to get pregnant. We don't think that's necessarily going to be the case for me because nothing's that easy, but who knows? One step in the right direction, so we'll take it. And the other thing that he did is he said because my eggs are not responding this cycle, and we're trying to force my body to learn how to respond every month. And he said it's kind of like a muscle memory thing. The more you do it, the more it's easy and the more you're able to just do it automatically. And he said same concept for your body. So I, starting this evening, am back on the ever lovely Clomid. So I'm taking Clomid again tonight. Today is cycle day 14. So I'm taking it cycle days 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And I'm taking 100 milligrams. So he doubled my dose. So I have 10 pills. My poor husband, he's already like, oh my goodness. I already apologized to him. I made a public announcement on Facebook that if I'm crying because the wind blows, just to ignore me. So we'll see what happens. I think I told you guys that the Clomid on 50 milligrams, it definitely made me more emotional, but I was aware of it and able to control it. So I'm hoping it's the same thing, but I'll keep you guys updated on how that goes. So those were kind of like his 2 major notes at the beginning, is that he recommended the metformin and obviously the Clomid. So as far as the rest of my blood work goes, things that he wrote down, the biggest thing, and I told you guys I was hoping for some answers today, and actually I got answers, and I'm really, really pleased with the answer. So here's what it is. I have a double copy of a gene mutation, MTHFR C677T. So I'm homozygous for that mutation, and I'm trying to find the whole word laid out. How did I do this before? Methylene tetrahydrofolate. Yes. Methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase. I think I said that right. I may have butchered it. But that's MTHFR. I have 2 copies. And the variant was not identified, so they're not really sure where it is. So it confers an increased risk for development of hyperhomocystinemia when I'm deficient in folate, B6 or B12. A fasting homocysteine level should be measured. Hyperhomocystinemia may also occur due to mutations in enzymes other than MTHFR, blah, blah. So basically this whole report just kind of indicates what it could mean and then other factors that don't exactly apply to me. It says elevated homocysteine may be associated with a mildly increased risk for venous thrombosis, coronary artery disease, and a higher risk for recurrent pregnancy loss. So he's saying that this is it. This is the reason that he believes 100% that I have been miscarrying. And as sad as I am that this has all happened, this gives me some peace because now I know there's a cause and there's something we can do about it. So basically what this does is it's a key enzyme in the folate pathway, it says. So what I have to do is I have to take a supplement called Metnex. For now, he's happy with me taking my B complex that has folic acid plus the additional folic acid supplement plus my prenatal vitamin that has folic acid. He's okay with that. But as soon as I get a positive pregnancy test, he'll put me on the Metnex, which I guess helps block this mutation and alleviate the side effects of the mutation. So that's a big one, and I'm really excited because of all the things to happen. This is something we can fix. So I'm just overjoyed that we have an answer because I know so many people don't get answers, and I just feel blessed that there's an answer. So, like I said, I have 2 copies of that mutation. So it's actually something my brother needs to look into now as well. Because if I have 2 copies, obviously both my parents have a copy, which means if he has this as well, he needs to get on some supplements. Obviously not for fertility related issues, but because of the coronary artery disease factor. And we already have an increased risk of that in my family. So he needs to take a look at that as well. So it says that this has an estimated frequency of 10 to 12% in Caucasians and 25% in Hispanics. So, I mean, it's not all that common, but it's more common than other issues. So at least it's something they know about and something we can correct. And I'm sorry I'm looking down. I'm actually like reading what this says. So it says genetic counselors are available, so I could talk to someone about this. So there's that. And that was really it as far as that part goes. Obviously, the rest of my blood work you guys already know about, my insulin level, my glucose level. And then all of my hormones related to fertility obviously came back good. My AMH is high, which is the PCOS. We knew that. Something that I did find really interesting that I've never really seen before, and maybe you guys are a little bit more familiar with this. Hold on a second. I want to fold that down so my information's covered. But these are the hormone level, the hormones, and then over here, and then these 3 numbers here are what my levels were, and then here are ranges. And I was just really intrigued by these ranges, just because you guys can see they really overlap big time. So I would love to know more. Sorry, my hair is kind of crazy. I would love to know more behind those ranges and how you determine one over the other if they overlap so much. So that was just interesting information I thought I'd pass on to you guys. So I think that's really it as far as that goes. So I'm just overjoyed that I have answers, that we have a plan. His basic prognosis or conversation that we had was, he wants to get me metabolically where I'm supposed to be. Obviously, we're going to continue trying to get my ovaries to do what they're supposed to do and respond the way they're supposed to respond. We're going to rerun all of my blood work in November. He said before Thanksgiving, before I cheat, which was really funny. And then, at that point, I will have taken Clomid for as long as I can, and then we'll move on. He said he doesn't want to be too hasty in that decision, because obviously he wants to get me in the best position that I can before we move to IVF. So, but he's optimistic, but it definitely sounds like he's planning for that IVF, which kind of takes some weight off of me. I'm not putting as much emphasis into these cycles. I'm still going to do everything I'm supposed to do, and obviously we're going to keep trying because you never know, but it takes some pressure off. I don't feel quite as overwhelmed by the whole thing and like riding so much on every single cycle. So that's kind of a nice weight off, honestly. He also recommended 2 books for me to read, so I wanted to share those with you guys to see if you've ever read them, what you think about them, or maybe you guys would find them helpful. One is called the Sugar Booster, or Sugar Burner, sorry, and the other one's called the Fat Fighter. So I'm gonna order both of those and I'll read them and then share with you guys some things that I learned, but he said that'll be very helpful with my diet. He wants me to keep on course with that and just keep going. So that's where we are. I'm gonna update you guys later this weekend as far as to how things are going with the Clomid and the Metformin. Hopefully everything's good. I hope all of you are doing really well and you guys have an awesome weekend, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!